So after 30 years, we're finally at the day in Back to the Future Part 2 where they travel to the future. It's 21st of October 2015.
And the future is nothing at all like it was in that film, and I'm very, very disappointed.
We have no flying cars, we have no self-drying jackets, and we have no hoverboards. No. Instead we have Swegways.
I don't even know what a Swegway is. That's not something, that's not real. I want a pink hoverboard made by Mattel.
Hi and welcome to TMG, I'm Rick.
I'm Marty McFly. No, I'm not, I wish I was though. But I'm Andrew, and this is our review of the wonderful Back to the Future from 1985. As everyone knows, directed by Robert Zemeckis. Rick, I know this is your favourite film, isn't it?
Yeah.
So why do you love it as much as you do?
I love it because it's just such a feel-good film. It's got sort of time travel aspects without sort of giving you a nosebleed like if you were watching Primer.
I still haven't watched Primer yet, and everyone's telling me to.
Yeah, you should watch it. You're going to have a headache. It's like when you first pick up A Brief History of Time. It's hard to wrap your head around. One of the reasons I love this film is just because it's such a feel-good film. The main focus of the film is these two characters.
The chemistry between Marty and Doc, and there's so many wonderful moments. My favourite is when Marty arrives at Twin Pines and he just sees the smoke and the car backs out very, very slowly, and the music just goes da-da-da-da. It's like a magic trick, it's like an illusion, and it's just a perfect moment. And then suddenly Doc emerges in this big white radiation suit with his big white hair, and he's like, Marty! And it's just awesome.
Most people probably know this, but Twin Pines Mall, if you look at the end of the film, like these little sort of touches that they put in the film to show the cause and effect that goes on throughout the film, is when Marty travels back to the past, he hits over a pine tree. When we go back to the future at the end of the movie, it's called Lone Pine Mall, and just these little sort of touches I just think work really well. The thing I really liked is how Marty got to sort of see his parents, how they were as a young age, and that's just like a really interesting premise.
Yeah, I really like the moment where Marty and Lorraine are in the car and Marty's saying, "What, you drink? You smoke?" And she's like, "Oh, come on, everybody drinks." And the other best moment in the film, I have to say, is Johnny Be Good.
Which was going to get cut. I mean, like...
We're going to cut Johnny Be Good?
Robert Zemeckis was going to cut Johnny Be Good because it didn't move the story forward, but can you imagine, it's such a sort of great scene.
Yeah, when he's kicking over the speakers and he's jumping about and he's striking the guitar.
And I'm pretty sure that's the scene that actually made me want to learn how to play guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to knock about the house with a little toy guitar doing that. I'm not as good a guitarist as Rick is, but I had a bloody good go. And as well, Eric Stoltz originally, this is an interesting fact, he was going to be in the film, they decided it wasn't him, and I'm glad obviously because Michael J. Fox is phenomenally good in the role. But an interesting fact is when Marty dives for the DeLorean after the Libyans have killed Doc, it's actually Stoltz jumping into the car. I don't know why it is, but they didn't change that scene, so when Stoltz jumps in, that is actually Stoltz, it's not Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, because they did actually record sort of 5 weeks of Eric Stoltz during this movie. Robert Zemeckis just knew that wasn't right. Apparently he was playing the role too serious. He just didn't have the sort of great comedy time that Michael J. Fox does have. They got Michael J. Fox even though he was currently working on Family Ties at the time, so he had to sort of shoot Family Ties all day and then record Back to the Future all night. And
yeah, he said he was getting about 2 or 3 hours sleep. He was shooting and recording and then recording and rehearsing. He just said it was the biggest buzz I've ever had. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was worth it. And can you imagine anyone else playing that part? There's no other actor at the time.
And can you imagine passing up on it?
Yeah, can you imagine? Imagine if he'd said, "Oh, I don't want to do a time travel movie with some old man, no chance."
And that's sort of never really questioned as to why this older guy is like
friends.
About him.
Yeah, because you couldn't, it's a sad truth that you couldn't have a relationship like that today in a film. I think it would just be too creepy.
Kind of a shame that that's always the case because it's always sort of questioned in this day and age. But watch this movie and like it doesn't even come into question because they just seem like best friends. They genuinely do have a connection together. They just have a brilliant chemistry together. They just work so well together.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Doc doesn't talk down to Marty just because Doc's older.
Yeah.
He doesn't sort of speak down to him. He doesn't denigrate him in any way, and that's really refreshing.
Yeah, so even though this film is really good, it's my favourite one out of the trilogy. I mean, it was never really intended to be a trilogy. The to be continued at the end was basically just added as a joke. They didn't have sort of this like big plan in mind. It wasn't like this Lord of the Rings or Star Wars type thing. It was just there for a bit of fun at the end of the movie. So when the movie did so well and they had to pick it up for the sequels, I mean...
Yeah, they sort of, I don't know, I think the second one really feeds off the first one as if they didn't have a really sort of solid idea for a second one. And by the third one, they were Wild West. I don't know. I never really cared for it, but I don't really like westerns, so I don't know if that's sort of a hangover from that.
But imagine never seeing the hoverboard, and especially sort of revisiting the first film at the end of the second film. There's things that I really enjoy about the sequels, and it's got like a great soundtrack, really sort of like iconic music for the film.
Huey Lewis in the News is great, Mr. Sandman in the 50s, and the original score as well, but I think it's Alan Silvestri is great.
Yeah, The Power of Love.
Yeah, Power of Love in that. I love the music when Marty's being chased around the car park by the Bolivians in the DeLorean, and that sounds fantastic as well. Da, 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 da. It's just awesome. I had to do that.
I give this movie a 5 out of 5. It's my favourite film of all time. It's no
Raging Bull. It's
no,
not sort of
it's
like
no Shawshank Redemption or anything like that. It knows what it is. It does it extremely well. It's got great characters, a great heart, and a really good story. Yeah. And for that reason, it's one of my favourite films of all time. So I give it a 5 out of 5. If you haven't seen Back to the Future, I don't know why you're watching this review. 30 years after the film came out.
Years.
But yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, please do. It's a great family film. You can sit down with everybody and enjoy it, and there's something in it for everyone. I have to admit, I'm not as crazy about the sequels as Rick is. I do love this film. It's in my top 5. It's a 5-star from me.
I mean, there was actually talk recently about Robert Zemeckis shot down rumours of a remake of Back to the Future. I do not want to see that.
I have no desire whatsoever for them to remake. It's not with sodding Zac Efron as Marty.
Is that how they want it to be?
It probably would be. He's in everything these days. Probably have Seth Rogen as Doc, wouldn't they? He said "Over my dead body." Robert Zemeckis said, "Are they remaking Back to the Future?"
And I agree with it. Why touch it? Why mess with it? Because it's not going to be as good, and there's nothing wrong with this version.
Most of the films that come out now don't need remaking. This does not need remaking. Just re-release it in the cinemas, which is what they're going to do.
Yeah, what we're actually doing today is we're going to the cinemas because it's the future date. They're actually airing sort of a Back to the Future marathon in the cinema, and yeah, we're going.
I can't wait. I've got the popcorn. I've got the boots, I've got everything. I've got my life preserver ready in the wardrobe back home, and I'm really excited to go and see it on a big screen because it will look incredible.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. Hope you like this review. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for our future reviews, and until next time, thanks for watching.
Thank you and goodbye.